Hey, it's Jane with the Compassion Project, and I'm excited today because I'm here with Danielle Dionne. Say hi, Danielle.
Hi.
Today we're going to be playing a game of Cool to Connect. I'm really excited. It's an awesome game, and I'm just super honored that you're here, Danielle. Danielle is an incredible woman, and I am blessed to have connected with her. We connected a couple months ago through the Compassion Project, and this game, which I'm going to explain in a minute, is really about creating deeper connection, which I believe leads to compassion, which leads to peace, creating a more peaceful world, which you're all about. So Danielle is compassionate and driven and determined to make a difference in the world. She is a parent management training specialist. She's a family dispute mediator and the founder of FamilyShip. And she is the director of mental health programs for Peace 360 initiatives. And her real passion lies in reducing conflict in the lives of children, which is so beautiful and so important. And you really, really are making a difference. And I adore you. I'm so happy we connected. So welcome.
Thank you, Jane.
Yeah. So I'm going to explain the game. It's called Cool to Connect. These are connection cards. You can see them. These were created by a beautiful girl, Dana Clark. She lives in Toronto, Ontario, and she is the founder of her company, Heroic Humans. And she really, really is making a difference in the world too. So these are connection cards. And so it's a deck of 52 cards. So how we do the game is I will pull a card, I will read the question, and then we will decide who will answer first, because I don't know what the questions are either.
Okay.
To be fair, I have not looked at them all. It's hard for me not to look. So these are the ones I've never looked at. There's not many left. So I'll shuffle them up.
Okay.
I'll read the card. And then we decide together who will answer first.
Okay.
Have any questions?
I think you're going to be the one asking questions.
Okay. So yeah, they're designed to get a deeper conversation going, like thought-provoking questions. So I'm shuffling them up.
Start right away. All right.
All right, let's do it. Okay, here we go. First question. I always get a bit nervous.
I'm a little nervous. I don't know what you're going to ask me.
Okay, first question. Oh, what habit would you like to break and why? What habit would you like to break? I love the subject of habits, put it that way. But I do have a couple I could break. So do you want to go first or do you want me to go first? I think I have to.
How vulnerable do I want to be here? I think you can go first.
Okay, so I love actually the subject of habits because I've learned a lot recently about habits and habit forming. And I'm absolutely fascinated by our brain and that we are such habit creatures. And we can get into these negative patterns and negative habits. And it's actually really hard to change. But once you do, if your brain can create negative habits, you can create positive ones. So it's like, let's take this negative one and switch it to positive. So, okay, because of the pandemic, well, not because of the pandemic, you can't blame it. I love red wine. I really do enjoy a nice glass of red wine. I don't drink too much. And it is such a habit when 5 o'clock hits. I just pour a nice glass of red wine. I like it. And I do know that one glass is good for you, they say, in the heart, for the heart health. But I really want to break the habit because I don't need to have a glass at 5 o'clock every night. It's become a habit. And so what I actually am doing is that I still get a wine glass and I put Perrier in it. Because then, and I've learned this with habits too, is that you need to break a habit, you need to substitute with something, right? You still get the wine glass, you still put in the Perrier and you still enjoy it. And you do that, and you don't say you're never gonna have another glass of wine, but you just break the actual habit at 5 o'clock. So that's fine.
Wow.
I know.
Thank you, Jane. I think that was something I can absolutely relate to. And I really like how you are fascinated with habit, and as well as what you shared around the red wine, because it's on the top of my list too. I actually was the first thing I thought about was like Friday at the end of the day, red wine. It's the same kind of habit. It's almost a reward system in my brain. And I think that's really where habit, it gives us the feedback, and we keep doing that, and it feels good. So then we keep doing that. And so we create these pleasures, that we think are good for us. And it's definitely gotten me in trouble though, red wine.
Yeah.
So I'm working on making sure that I like your idea, putting Perrier in it, and recognizing that, after a couple glasses of red wine, you stop counting quick. So it's important to recognize that too. Another thing that comes up for me when you mentioned habit, and it's so fascinating because working with parents and conflict, I think we all have conflict habits. Where do we go when we hear that we disagree with somebody? And how do we communicate or show up when we disagree? And often, in the world right now, we see it all over Facebook where people, you can see conflict habits everywhere. It's like, brrr, right? They start.
Yeah.
And I do the same thing. Like as soon as I see a conflict around parents or parenting, behavior, conflict, or even when it's this whole like my ex-husband, my ex-wife conversation, and I can feel the tension and I think of the child, I get like right away, I feel it under my skin, and I want to just open up that comment box. And I often do. Those are my Facebook friends can see. I'm, go in there, and I'm trying to break that habit. And I'm getting better. But at the end, I don't want to say bad. That's a habit. So I want to change it.
We all have so many habits. Yeah.
So I think for me, it's red wine. I'll check that one off for you.
Yeah.
And it's jumping to the comment box when I disagree. Because I think I need to do better. Like I think I'm good at it, but acceptance and agreement are not the same thing. And I think it's important that I can accept this is your point of view and I disagree. And that kind of eases me a little bit.
Yeah, it's true. It's interesting how we do it's like our brains form these easy pathways where we just slip into them. We don't even think about it. But years ago when my kids were younger, I went back to college and I did to work with children with special needs. This is related to habits. I've never forgotten this. We did it was a behavior course. And because I was working with children with special needs, I had to learn how to change their behavior. Because if a child was angry and they lash out and hit another child, I had to reteach them a proper habit. And they said that it takes approximately 21 days of consistent everyday changing to start forming a new habit. And so you replace the behavior. So with the child, we replace it with stomping your feet. So we did over and over, stomp your feet instead of, right? Yeah. And so if you're replacing red wine or you want to replace coffee, you take 21 days every day. Yeah. All of a sudden you'll go for the Perrier instead of the wine.
You hope. And I hear what you're saying there too. When I work with families, I always talk about, so we talk about the child's behavior or the other person's behavior. And then I ask, we're talking about a lot of problem behaviors. What is that pro-social opposite behavior you want to see more of? And I think, you're helping me reframe my own habits. Like, so what is the actual behavior that I want to see more of from myself? What is my pro-social behavior instead of the jumping? Or what would be my pro-social behavior instead of the pouring?
Right. Yeah. And so you don't just want to quit a habit. You want to replace it with something healthier over and over and over and over.
Wow. I think that's a really good point. I like the whole phrase that says obligation is the worst motivation. That's what came to my mind there. So if you're obliged to quit something all out, I think it's like a dog on a tight leash.
Yeah.
You're going to just pull harder.
It's funny how you remember certain things. That behavior
Yeah.
class from when I went to college. That class stuck in my mind because we had to study ourselves. And back then I had a really bad habit of drinking these caramel credos of like a second cup, it was called, coffee shop.
Yeah.
And I had to write up this whole thing on my behavior, how I felt when I drank it, what it did for me. And if there was a lineup and I couldn't get the coffee, I'd be stressed. I'm trying to get to class. I wrote out this whole very honest, it was a 21-day study on behavior. and then I replaced it with just a plain cappuccino. Then I replaced it with, but I would still go to the drive-through. I would still do a drink. So you're you know what I mean? You're replacing it so that you're just creating new healthy pathways or a new healthy habit.
Totally. Good advice, Jane.
It's super interesting. I love that whole concept. But the teacher actually said to me back then, she goes, I think maybe you should keep drinking those drinks. They make you very happy. Oh, look, here's someone put nothing wrong with a glass of wine in the evening. I started this habit as well. Yikes. Yeah. One glass is actually proven at the hospital. I was there when my husband had heart issues, and they said there's a glass of wine on the food chart that's good for you. So there you go. Aww. So the person said acceptance and agreement are not the same. So true.
I wonder too, like when you're talking about all of these habits and how much we just do the same thing over and over again, and how much of that we think is so big on our guilt that creates that whole feeling of needing the relief again. That shame habits, we live with shame a lot of the times when we judge our habits. And I think I like this discussion on small steps on what can we do to shift the pattern, the routine just a little bit. And also I really like the compassion project, and I really the idea of self-compassion, that nobody is perfect and we all have a vice, every single one of us. And so I like the idea of sharing compassion and sharing the idea that we're all in this together. Some vices are illegal, others are not, right? And so I think it's helpful to have that conversation about our own habits, because that reflection is important.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, we're habit creatures. We all have habits, but it's just creating more healthy and realizing that one's not really serving me well. I like it, but if you're just creating something healthier. So
totally. Small steps.
Awesome. And the tiny habits, they say the little habits are what create our whole life. What you do every day over a long period of time will completely change your life. It's not what you do a lot of for 2 weeks. What do you do every day? What habits do you have that are healthy that will change your life over a long period of time, right?
Good sleep.
Good sleep.
Good sleep.
That's what we all need. Okay, are you ready? That was a good question.
Thank you. Yeah, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah. Okay, question number 2. In your last or current relationship, who said I love you first? Oh. In your last or current, well, mine's a long relationship. I've been with my husband for 34 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
34 years, and he said I love you first. But I remember it being very scary. Like that whole, when you want to say you love you to someone and it's in your head all the time and you're like, I really love them. And especially at a young age, the fear of, will they say they love me back, or that whole so I remember that clearly, him saying I love you. I'm like, I love you too. It's like, yay.
That's the sweetest story. Where were you?
We met in Kelowna when I was 19 and I was 20 and he was 25. He was a pilot, I was a flight attendant. And and I was only 3 weeks of dating when he said he loved me, but we've been together. That was almost married 34 years together, 36. But it's the whole being vulnerable. That's where you have to, the fear of, is the other person going to say, I love you too? And I think you get to a certain age where you're like, it doesn't matter. If you love them, you love them. That's how I feel now. It doesn't matter. No.
doesn't.
How about you? Do you have, in your last current relationship?
I actually can't even remember a first in this. And I think what comes up for me, Jane, is that I say it lots, I think. Like, this is, you know, I really am somebody who says I love you to a lot of people. My friends will tell you this, even those that I'm close to at work. Like, during the pandemic, like, I'm just picturing yesterday having a conversation with somebody who I miss, that I was close with at my office, and we're working from home now. And at the end of the conversation, I love you. I had, a great conversation with one of my bestest friends in the world last night that ended at about 10 o'clock. And I remember walking down the alley with my headset on, and I love you was the last thing I said. And a guy in a truck was like, you know, and I was like, no, I've got a headset. So I don't know, in my relationships, like, you know, I am currently in love, I think, and not I think, I am. And we're going through, you know, working on making sure that things are right. And it's been a long time coming together. And I love the idea of being in love for 35 years, you know, and being together for 35 years. I don't remember who said it first. I just know that when I hear it, it does, like what you said, it's like takes that, you know, there's something, it's something all encompassing about I love you. So
I know.
yeah.
Oh, you're such a beautiful person. And I think the reason that you are so compassionate and that you are going to make a difference is you are full of love. Like, I can feel it. And so you're easy to say it to someone. Because have you know you listen to Wayne Dyer, I'm sure.
Oh
yeah. Have you heard that orange story? When you squeeze an orange?
To me on our last interview.
Yeah, so that's the same as love. So I think when you said that you can freely say I love you to people, that means that you have so much love in you already, right? That's the same analogy. Someone that can't say it, or maybe if they have trouble saying it, you have to just love yourself more first.
I mean, the greatest love of all is the love for my kids. There's no doubt that is like, so like, I was messaging my son last night and the conversation ended. And like 5 minutes later, I was like, I didn't say I love you. I had to go back. I love you. Right?
Yeah.
I'm crazy. But I remember playing a game with them when they were younger. I'm going to say I love you 100 times today. Oh gosh, Mom. You know, it's just...
I know. I think it's beautiful when people can say it freely. And
let's do more of this, Jane. Let's tell people we love them. Just maybe we should have an I love you game.
Yeah, really. Oh, cheers. Look, I got my cup today.
Oh, what does this say?
Cup of happy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. That was awesome. I love the subject of love and being able to say I love you. Are you ready for the last one?
Alrighty.
Okay, here we go. Last question. What is the best gift you have ever been given? Okay, I hate to say this. I've answered this, but I could answer it again. I don't know how this got into my pile.
Would you like a new one? I'm okay with a new one.
I did answer that, and it was a really good answer, but I don't know how it got in there. It got mixed up. Now, it's something weird. I've answered that too. I don't want to answer the same one. Did I mix up my cards? Okay, here. What is something you think everyone should experience in life? Definitely never answered this one. What is something you think everyone should experience in life? This is good. Think about that. Do you have an answer? Do you want to go? Think of something good.
Something did come up right away, and I think if I share it, it's going to sound a little bit strange, but I'm going to go for it because since the pandemic, there's been this theme in my brain, and I'm not sure if it's coming on from the pandemic or just where I've been in this last year. I've been really in a place of joy. Just, you know, I love my living space. I'm spending time, you know, doing things that you know, I really like putting like whipped cream on my amazing healthy smoothie, and like, you know, these little bits of things, making sure my silk pillows are clean, doing these beautiful rituals at night. And I think everybody needs to enjoy, and this word needs to be taken into the light of goodness instead of there's this nefariousness with this word. But I love the word, and I want to I want everybody to experience hedonism, complete and utter joy, where they have given to themselves and planned something that is just something that they can plan, that's just, so it's like a nice little ritual or something that just brings up that feeling of like, that feels good. So it's like it's almost, you know, like this amount of joy it doesn't mean it's bad, but it just means that we need to give ourselves happiness and experience what it feels like to do something out of the box and create happiness for ourselves. So it's not just about going and doing your yoga that feels good. That's definitely great and it feels great. What would it mean to do a yoga session with added joy? Like, what do you need to make that even better? So that's what I think that I would like to see us all work more on. We do good things for ourselves. We practice self-care. But what is that next few levels to bring in joy? So that's what came up for me. Like, what does everybody need to experience? They need to practice the art of leveling up. Leveling up pleasure. Yeah.
Well, and you know what, Danielle? Joy is where it's at. That's what we all want, that deep joy. We don't just want happy. Happy's good at surface, but the inner deep joy. And what's funny, when I first read the question, that came to my mind too, because of, but I'm going to go slightly different.
Okay.
But because of the pandemic, I really believe such an interesting time, because it does force you to go inwards. Our lives have become more simple, staying home more. And I have found probably more joy than ever during the last couple months. And I believe it's because, and the question is, what is something you think everyone should experience in life? And I'm going to say deep, deep gratitude is what I would want everyone to experience, because the practice of deep gratitude, where you start to create this deep groove in your brain, this pathway that all day long you go to gratitude. It's taken me almost 3 years of every day being grateful, not knowing it would come to, wow, like it's shocking me how all day, throughout the whole day, I can be deeply grateful for everything, even the simple things. And when I used to walk my dog with my husband, I'd be in a hurry, like I got to get home because I got to do this. I was always living ahead or worrying about something that happened the day before. But when you're practicing deep, deep gratitude, I'll be walking the dog and I'll think, oh, I'm so grateful for this walk with my husband. And I'll really notice them. And I just feel this joy. So then I'll be like, I'm so grateful for the trees, and I can see them, and I have eyes to see. Some people don't. And then everything becomes brighter. And I've literally experienced that feeling of joy.
Like it's like this. I love how you said everything becomes brighter.
Yeah.
When you, it's exactly that. And I think exactly what you're saying, you know, so what I'm hearing too is to get to joy, it's about now.
Yeah. Being present and grateful. That's kind of how to get to the joy, I think, but it's not so simple as, oh, I'm going to be grateful today and feel the joy. It's, you have to work at it. You have to you can't just say the words. You have to really feel grateful.
There has to be a behavior. There has to be action. So like what you said, I was walking the dog and I looked, it's about an action. So we can feel grateful. But again, I always say a feeling is an empty jar. What is the behavior that is supporting that feeling or not? Right. So how does your behavior, work with your feelings? So, we can manage joy, but no, we manage our behavior. And I I was in the moment walking the dog and I looked around. That's incredible that you can connect just, it's the simplicity of that to the moment of brightness, that right now. The words right now, Jane, are like two of my favorite words ever. Right now. Yeah.
Well, as Wayne Dyer says about when you're nowhere and then you're now here, when you change the word from nowhere. Like if I was walking the dogs and my brain was wandering to somewhere before, like if I was worried about something coming up, I'm nowhere. But when you switch it to you're now here, you're brought right back to the present moment. Yeah, isn't that cool?
I love that. I love words. I wrote that one down. That's great. Thank you.
Someone put, love these thought-provoking. I know, it's a really, really awesome game. Yeah, so that was amazing.
Thank you, Jane.
Yeah, I love all the subjects we got onto because we got on the habit, which was amazing. And then we talked about love and then really got into joy and gratitude, which is amazing.
So do we need to develop habits around love that bring us joy and gratitude?
There you go. There, exactly. We need to develop habits and loving ourselves and being grateful, and we'll have joy. Hey, we just figured life out. Awesome.
There we go. We're good to go.
Thank you, Danielle. That was amazing. Thanks, everyone, for watching. And yeah, so I'm going to put a link in the comments to Dana, her website.
Dana Clark.
Dana Clark. I can remember her last name. The Heroic Humans.
This is amazing.
And cool to connect. Yeah.
Cool to connect. Heroic Humans. I really, really enjoyed this game, and I'm curious now about all the other questions.
I know. It's fun, right?
Yeah, very fun. Thank you, Jane.
Okay. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Bye.
Bye.